So Prabhu, it's like now Pranesh Prabhu is setting up the screen. So you are in focus. After some time, you'll be ready, steady, go.
Okay, yeah, we are online now. We can start. So we will have welcome devotees for the ISKCON Seshadripuram Outpost West um, Bhakti Sadan program, Sunday program. So we will have a Bhagavad Gita class as usual. Today we have the pleasure of hearing from His Grace Padmanabha Achyuta Prabhu. We have always been he has always been giving wonderful classes for us, and so we are eager to hear from him today also. Over to you, Achyuta Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thanks for the opportunity and welcome to all devotees for Bhakti Sadan program. So, let us start with Radha Madhav. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana
I just want to confirm that.
Ratiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Harinama Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Sunday Bhakti Sadan program ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, welcome to Bhagavad Gita class.
I got a contact for Kripam.
Give me a- Okay. Just a minute.
It is in one of the Kapil Prabhu's apartment complex. He has put that. Janmashtami celebration.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So before getting into today's class, let us set the background of the scene where exactly we are now. So we all know we have been discussing fourth chapter. So could someone respond to me? What was the third chapter? Hare Krishna. Can someone respond to me? What was the third chapter? Okay. The third chapter was Karma Yoga. So in Karma Yoga, there are three glorifications. We heard about fourth chapter. So that was the connectivity. What was that? So we have been working. Karma means what? Karma means, the work or duty. What I supposed to or one supposed to. So the perception of karma is not for a fruitive result. It should be a nishkama karma. So that was the next stage of understanding and implementing, that logic, and then being able to award our intelligence the strength to overcome all lusty desires by converting all our activities into this nishkama karma, then we can come out with lusty desires. Then another glorification about transcendental knowledge was having the power to purify our consciousness from passion to goodness. Passion means what? Rajasic. Goodness means sattva. So elevating from one conscious to another consciousness. So these are the three glorifications about transcendental knowledge. So without knowing this transcendental knowledge, one cannot elevate to that particular Nishkama Karma Yogi state. So here the transcendental knowledge is our fourth chapter. Let us understand this transcendental knowledge is divided into four divisions. The first division, what we have discussed was transcendental knowledge about Krishna. So I remember, these four divisions like this. First, I should know the children should know about the father. That is all about transcendental knowledge about Krishna. Right? How great my father is, like that. And then the second division of fourth chapter is applying transcendental knowledge. That means I understood what is my father's quality. I understood my father and my father's quality. How I should get in direct relation, into engagement. That is the applying transcendental knowledge. And third one is understanding karma on the platform of jnana. That means my father will reward me if I am very pious, if I do good things, and my father will punish me or disrecognize me if I do. Disrecognizing and all, secondary for father. For me, it is like that. That knowledge, about who am I and who is my father. All these things are third division of transcendental knowledge. And the fourth division of division is sacrifice lead to transcendental knowledge. So all this sacrifice lead to transcendental knowledge. I am not going to dedicate anything, do anything for my father's sake. It is for my sake. All the yajna, all the sacrifice only to control my senses, my own senses. Okay, I understood all these four divisions. Now what we are going to discuss, what we have been discussing is, we are concluding all this about the implementation. Say in the software field, we all know there are different stages. Finally, we will get into a stage called, implementation and then testing and all. Now it is a concluding stage where we are, about this. What is this conclusion, fifth division? This is not a division. It is a fifth, category like that. We can see one can understand this transcendental knowledge. The father-son analogy, one can remember easily, this particular chapter's purpose and the meaning. That is the reason I gave this analogy. And the conclusion, there are two things we have to be mindful, what we have been discussing. That is from 34th sloka to 42nd, the end of this chapter. There are two things in the conclusion stage. One is acting on transcendental knowledge. Okay, I understood all the philosophy and now I should get into the practice. That is called acting on transcendental knowledge, and how one should act from the knowledge which is received from the disciplic succession. Why I should follow such a disciplic succession? Because which destroys the sinful reactions of all my work. Sinful reactions. You all know sinful reaction. If I eat only food for my taste, some star hotel or in the roadside, chat shop, chat masala, or what do you call that? Pani puri shop, right? But that I am, accumulating my sin by this transcendental knowledge received through disciplic succession. One can destroy this or purify this. Therefore, one should do this duty fixed in transcendental knowledge. So we are going to, set the theme on this. And further, I will come to the exact, today's verse. Today's verse, we are going to discuss about 4.38 and 4.39. Still 40, 41, 42 is there. So those verses out of our scope. And our scope for today's discussion is 4.38 and 4.39. Before getting into 4.39 and 4.38 and 4.39, let us recap 4.37 and then where we supposed to go. The objective of today's discussion is 4.40. The 4.37, last Sunday we have discussed about. The theme of last Sunday's discussion was, by the knowledge of self and super soul and their relationship, one burns all sinful reaction. By knowing who am I, who is my father, and what is the relationship between me and my father, I burns all my sinful reactions. Right? It is like this, one can understand. Say my father gives 1,000 rupees to pay to the, one of his friend. I'm going there and paying that, say let us assume, 10 lakh rupee. Then immediately they are rewarding me. Oh, very nice. Your father is so, wonderful person, and you have come as a representative of your father, and we are honoring you. Then I am enjoying. Very nice, like that. Then the same father gave me 10,000 rupees to go and give to somebody else. There they have treated me left and right. My father, would have done something or whatever it may be. But the consequences, here I am not enjoying. Immediately I am searching for my father and going and conveying, see, I am suffering. You are not at all taking care like that and all. I am going and responding, right? So this is the process. Everybody, we all follows. But actually, by the knowledge of self, super soul, and the relationship, one burns all sinful reactions. How this burning is happening of all these sinful reactions? Just we have to act as an instrument, right? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, we have been discussing, Sidoshana Sukha Dukkhada. That means this happiness and distress are not permanent, which will come and go. So you be an instrument and give all the result to me, right? He is giving the assurance. My devotee is never perishous, right? So why we have to wait for that? So that, and also, and burns all sinful reactions if we act like that, right? Father will take care about all the consequences. Whether it is good or bad, I will surrender to my Supreme Father and I will hand over all the responsibilities. I will act as an instrument. That was the message from previous verse. And after learning this verse, and what would be our next understanding is, so today's discussion is about faithful person, and next week the objective was to understand who is faithless and why the faithless cannot attain the perfection of God consciousness. So that is out of our scope, and today's scope is about faithful person only. So let us get into today's verse. Hare Krishna, is it audible and visible? Someone can respond to me quickly.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So today's verse, as we mentioned, 4.38 about faithful person, right? These two verses. So let us go through the verse. Nahi jnanena sadrasam pavitram iha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddhaha kalendra atmani vindati. Nahi jnanena sadrasam pavitram iha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddhaha kalena atmani vindati. Nahi jnanena sadrasam pavitram iha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddhaha kalena atmani vindati. Word to word translation: Na, nothing. He, certainly. Jnanena, with knowledge. Sadrasam, in comparison. Pavitram, sanctified. Iha, in this world. Vidyate, exists. tat, that Swayam himself, yoga in devotion, samsiddhaha, he who is mature, kalena in course of time, atmani in himself, vidanti enjoys. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this world, there is translation. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Purport. When we speak of transcendental knowledge, we do so in terms of spiritual understanding. As such, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Ignorance is the cause of our bondage, and knowledge is the cause of our liberation. This knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service, and when one is situated in transcendental knowledge, he need not search for peace elsewhere, for he enjoys peace within himself. In other words, this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. That is the last word in the Bhagavad Gita. So here, first verse ends, that is 38. Let us move to 39. So 39 speaks about faithful person, about Shraddhavan. Yes. Shraddhava labhayete jnanam tatparaha samyatendriya jnanam labbo param santim achirena adigacchati Shraddhava labhate jnanam tatparaha samyatendriya jnanam labhava param santim achiren adigacchati. Shraddhava labhate jnanam tatparaha samyatendriya jnanam labhave param santim adigacchati.
Jnanam labdva param shanti.
Word to word translation. Shraddhavan, a faithful man, labhyate, achieves, jnanam, knowledge, tatparaha, very much attached to it, samyata, controlled, indriya, senses, jnanam, knowledge, labdava, having achieved, param, transcendental, shantim, peace, achirena, very soon, adigacchati, attains. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. Purport. Such knowledge in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by a faithful person who believes firmly in Krishna. One is called a faithful man who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness, he can attain the highest perfection. This faith is attained by the discharge of devotional service and by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, which cleanses one's heart of all material dirt. Over and above this, one should control the senses. A person who is faithful to Krishna and who controls the senses can easily attain perfection in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness without delay. Here the purport ends. Yes, Hare Krishna. Let me pay my obeisances to spiritual masters. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chashkurun Vilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Mangalacharan. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Bhutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavamcha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan सहना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च श्री कृष्ण प्रणाम. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते श्री राधा प्रणाम. तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुत देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये श्री वैष्णव प्रणाम. वांछा कल्प तरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. श्रीला प्रभुपाद प्रणाम. नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. पंचतत्व मंत्र. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. This is Mahamantra. Let me pay my obeisances to my Guru. Om Vishnu Padaya Vishnu Padaya Bhutale Vishnu Jayapataya Swami Dina Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Padaya Gaura Katha Nagara Gramadharini. Hare Krishna. Today's verse, as we mentioned, 4.38 and 4.39. The theme of these two verses are: one achieves self-realization as the mature fruit of all mysticism and finally gets devotional service. Second theme: who can acquire this transcendental knowledge? The faithful with dedication and sense control. Yes, today's class is over. Hare Krishna. Right? This is the theme. This is what we are going to discuss all about. The theme is this. I am repeating. One achieves self-realization as the mature fruit of all mysticism, about all religion. Go and search all vagera. I do this pranayama, I do that, I do this, transcendental service, I do that, this. So finally, the self-realization is the matured fruit of all mysticism, and finally gets devotional service. Immediately, one will not get devotional service, but they will get mature fruit like self-realization. Who am I? That is what the previous verse. What is the relation between me and my father? From that, what one can achieve. This is what self-realization one can achieve by knowing the who am I and what is who is God and what is the relationship between me and God. So this is what the theme one. The theme two. Okay, I understood, and everything is okay. And what is next? Who can acquire this transcendental knowledge? Because we know that finally gets devotional service. Then who can acquire this transcendental knowledge? The one who is faithful, the one with dedication and sense control. Only they can get this knowledge. This is not for all. It is not for a common man. It is not for any ordinary person. It is only for the pure devotees. Even in Mahabharata, we know there are so many saintly Raja Rishis. They all are very saintly kings. Why Krishna chosen Arjuna? Right? But why? Because he surrendered unto him. So that is the reason he can acquire the transcendental knowledge. Otherwise, this confidential and most precious knowledge, it is not for any animalistic or any materialistic act or person. So this is the two concept what we are going to discuss further. Further, we will get into the purport of the 38th verse. And see, today we can we cannot find something pure in this world, right? Everything has become so contaminated. There is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. This is called a pavitram, sublime and pure, right? The most beautiful and which is so pure as a transcendental knowledge. Pavitram, Prabhupada uses pavitram. So there is no second, there is no impurity. Ghee they will sell, they are 100% pure ghee. That means what? So there is no mix in that, like that. And why people are not getting this knowledge? Because ignorance is the cause of bondage. Because I'm so ignorant, what is, this knowledge? I don't know about the pastimes of my father. I don't know about, his, what I can say, name, fame and everything. Only my grandmother says, your father, when childhood, he does like this. When he was young, he does like that. Then when I have direct relationship with my father, then I can also, tell to some, my siblings, to my subordinates or my siblings, I can tell, how great our father is. Knowledge is the cause of liberation. Once, if we attain this knowledge, then the liberation will come. Right? The liberation means what? Yes, this is what the purpose of what I have been doing. Right? We will give gift. Gift means what? So this, see, I am so happy with associating with you. In that way, people are going and giving the gift. So that knowledge, when one will come, one will get when you come out from that bondage. When you have a gratitude towards your father, then this kind of happiness and all this sharing will happen with one to one. Knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service. Yes, knowledge is the only mature fruit. We can, father or our forefather can give so much of property. But if I fail to understand, how great my parents and forefathers are, otherwise totally everything is waste. Right? So that knowledge one should be mindful. Right? Such a person enjoys peace within himself. Because I am an instrument. Say, let us compare with, this materialistic understanding. Like say, I heard, Mukesh Ambani's father, he was pouring, petrol in the petrol pump for like a daily wages, right? So how much wealth he made for their family as well as, to the society or whatever, the way we look at that, right? So such person enjoys peace within himself. That means, see, I am not say the Mukesh Ambani will feel like this. Everything given by my father. So why I should take this credit? Always in the meetings and all, he will tell. That understanding, one should be mindful towards our Supreme Father. Does not search for peace elsewhere. Right? The first purport, says people are searching, peacefulness from, some material things. It never happens. It never happens outside. It should happen only inside, that too through transcendental knowledge. So one acquires this transcendental knowledge, definitely there will be peace. So everybody needs, peaceful. I need, haram. Right? How that haram, will come? Only through transcendental knowledge. The last word in Bhagavad Gita, knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. Most important point. So that's all. Bhagavad Gita one understood completely. That is the meaning of it. Knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. What is Krishna consciousness? One who knows about Krishna and then one who knows self. With the relationship with these two, that culminate in Krishna consciousness. Right? So this is the purport of 38. Let us get into the purport of 39. So it defines few things to us in the 39th verse. First thing, it defines faithful. What is meant by faithful, first of all? One who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness, one can attain the highest perfection. So that faith one should get first. How that faith will come? If he understands the transcendental knowledge and its purpose, what we have been discussing. How to attain that faith? Next wonderful answer to that. How to attain this faithful? How to attain this faith? Only by discharge of devotional service and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. No other alternate. By doing this, cleanses the heart of material dirt. By millions of birth, one would have taken, all the sinful, things will be vanished, cleanses the heart of material dirt. This is very wonderful, how to attain that faith by discharge of devotional service and chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Then, who can attain perfection in Krishna consciousness without delay? Next, I am so curious. Yes, I got this faith. Now, I want to know without delay how it could be attained. Yes, one who is faithful to Krishna and controls the senses. The entire yajna, entire concept we have been discussed, controlling the senses only. All this yajna for what? Controlling the senses. Prabhupada, very straightforward answer for all this, material problem as well as the transcendental knowledge. Let us look into the verse as well as the translation of the same. So, in this translation, it is mentioned that the first point, I am taking, this analogy. See, the transcendental knowledge is pure. That is, pavitram. In today's world, even in milk, we could not find that purity, right? Even with mother's affection towards the children, there may be impurity. But this transcendental knowledge is sublime and pure in this world. It is assured in Bhagavad Gita, in this verse. Okay. How great this knowledge. This is the matured fruit of all admysticism. I do this, I do that. We did, that homa, that, this, that, and all. Everything is okay. But without this transcendental knowledge, such knowledge gives what? Like a condensed milk. Keep on, boiling the milk. What will happen? You will get the full strength at the bottom, or in a very short, quantity. Right? There is a 10 liter of milk. Keep on boiling that. Finally, what will happen? It will become in a condensed, everything, within a short, quantity or a small quantity like that. So that is what all about this knowledge, transcendental knowledge. How great this transcendental knowledge, and how accomplished, this. It is not overnight. One cannot, understand and get into this devotional knowledge overnight. Yes. Okay, you come today and, granted, you have attained the transcendental position today. We are given the Diksha today. You chant this mantra, okay, then. There are so many, impurities are there in this, material world. And one can attain and enjoy this level gradually within himself first. Then, how gradually one can, enjoy this? Not simply. We have to maintain 4 regulative principles. We have to sacrifice no onion, garlic, Ekadasi, daily japa, prasadam. There are so many festivals, and every Sunday there is a Bhagavad Gita class and the Bhagavatam class and the devotee association, right? There are so many yajna. What for all this yajna? Not for Krishna, for my purification, right? For my sense control. These are the points we have to be mindful from the first sloka translation. And further, from the purport again, ignorance is the cause of our bondage, and knowledge is our cause of liberation. This point, we have discussed already. So one should be mindful what is meant by bondage. Bondage comes only because of ignorance. What is this bondage? I am this body. I am this body. I am maintaining, this body like this. I am feeding, this body like that. It is all about simply, fueling the car, right? Forgetting about the driver. Driver is so important. Only this car can, travel without any trouble. Once if the driver itself not there, then what is the fun in, talking about the car, right? Yes, body is okay, but it is an only instrument, very simple. But driver is very, very precious. That is very important. So you feed this, take care of this driver very much. That is called knowledge is the cause of our liberation. So that is a point one should be mindful by knowing this transcendental knowledge. And next point, this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness, where when one can attain this peaceful stage only through this transcendental knowledge, no other place, in this Krishna consciousness. That is the last word in Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita says, only I can, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I can tell you only this thing, try to know about me, right? And try to know about the devotees, my creation and all about. So Bhagavad Gita deals about 5 factors. We all know about 5 factors, about karma and about kala, time, and about jiva, and then about Ishwaram, and about Prakruti. All these 5. So all these 5 culminate only through this knowledge. Without knowledge, everything becomes big zero. So this is called yoga. This is called yoga. In the verse it is mentioned. Yoga means in devotion. So I do the same. I am also eating, sleeping, mating, defending. What animal does. But this yoga is a transcendental knowledge in devotion. We do it with devotion. That is most important, right? And such a person who came to that stage, such a person only enjoyed. That is Vindati. Vindati means what? The one who comes to that stage, that person will be enjoys or very peaceful around. So I am not falling into any of the trap of this material desire or material dirt, because it is vanished by this transcendental knowledge and gradually to the devotional service stage. Now, in the next verse, the translation gives some of the points. That is, we understood, faithful person. The faithful person means what? The one who dedicates his time for japa, reading, class, going to temple. So Vidura Prabhu was telling, going to temple. Why we can go to this, big malls are there in Bangalore. We can go to Bangalore is the number one. What do you call? What city it is? No. The Bangalore is the what is it? Bar and this thing. Some name is there.
Garden City.
Not Garden City. Number one in pub in compared to all other city. Bangalore is the number one in pub, right? Among all other cities. That means how much materially contaminated we are. So that represents this. And another city also, suicide capital of India. Bangalore is the suicide capital of India. So that means how much we all fallen into this material contamination, right? So this is what all about this faithful man, right? And finally he achieves the spiritual peace, not through devotional service, right? By getting all this knowledge. And how to take this knowledge. One is called a faithful man who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness he can attain the highest perfection. One is called a faithful man who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness. So always we have to be mindful with Krishna consciousness. The activities are same: eating, sleeping, mating, defending. But we have to be mindful with Krishna consciousness. Such a person is called it as faithful person. Okay? How to understand the faith? Understand the faith, right? How to attain the faith? Yes, faithful person is okay. How to attain this faith? This faith is attained by discharge of devotional service. What is meant by discharge of devotional service? I am not preparing this food for my pleasure. I am preparing this food for Lord's pleasure. She is not my wife. She is a devotee. They are not my children. They all are devotee of Krishna. That is called devotional service. So I am a father, yes, of a family. I am husband of the family. I am an employee of the organization. I am the citizen of this country. But we have to be mindful with devotional service. We have to execute things in discharge of devotional service. How this discharge of devotional service? It will attain only by chanting Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Right? This is the way one could attain the faith. No other alternate. Okay? I am attaining what is the benefit one will get with this faith and performing this devotional service, which cleanses one's heart of all material dirt. Birth after birth, there are millions of births one would have taken, but all this material dirt will be vanished within no time. Right? What is that? In Salpamappa Dharmasya. Salpamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahatobhaya. Yes. Even if I render a very little devotional service, I will be protected from biggest danger. Right? So that is the essence of this faithfulness or rendering devotional service. A person who is faithful, yes. A person who is faithful to Krishna and who controls the senses can easily attain perfection in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness without delay. Next point, who is very faithful, full surrender. Arjuna is totally surrendered.
But now, see, somehow Krishna is empowering.
What is
This
that?
what is, you can clearly see.
He
He's
says,
playing with the hand, singing. Still,
I surrendered. Karpanya dosho. Karpanya dosho, Pata Subhava,
I mean, sometimes I may say,
Uchyami,
no, all of you, that's okay, Prabhu.
Mithun,
Lagging in
Sammoda
one sense,
Chetaha,
I am also lagging.
Yashte Yashyan,
No, no, really,
Ishtitam
if you compare
Bruhitan
so many
me,
other devotees, I am also lagging. But we always see from where we are to where we are, right? You have see how far you
Saldimam,
are, how far
Prapanna, Pam Prapanna. That means he surrendered unto Krishna.
everything.
Right?
You can't look at it
See,
in one
simply,
way.
no one can
Krishna
go and surrender.
consciousness is
No.
not so-
This,
in that sense, it's so big.
plant.
Like
I am
if you are
surrendering
doing a
unto
nice
you.
service
No,
to
nobody will do.
devotees, that
Because
is also Krishna.
I understood
You
this
can't say no,
transcendental
no, no.
knowledge,
That's
so
why,
I
it's
surrendered
Krishna,
unto
Krishna
you.
is so
No.
huge.
Please
You can't,
accept me.
cage
So,
him in
in
this zone and
such a
say, this
mood,
is
one
only
can,
Krishna consciousness.
attain the transcendental knowledge and
The mode in which
without
we
delay.
serve, whatever
So,
we
what
do,
is the level of
he's talking
surrender?
today about it,
How
right?
much level of surrender
I'm
one
the-
can,
I'm the
get
countryman,
into?
that's okay.
We can take the example of Guru
What is the
Maharaj.
mood in
We
which
can
I'm
take
looking at
example of
this country?
Srila Prabhupada.
Not
How
as
much surrender they
just
are.
as a citizen, but as
We
in
may
relation to
go and
Krishna.
share with
That is
few people only.
what
They have shared to the entire
so,
world.
see, ultimately it's
It
not in the
shows
person, but
how much
your
surrender
mind
they
is
are,
fully
to
fixed in
the
Krishna.
Krishna and Krishna
So we
consciousness.
need to get
Otherwise,
there,
it
of
is
course.
not. It will not
It'll
happen. That
it'll
is a
naturally push us more and more deeper
thing.
into that.
And
thing.
how to
But some of
control the
us,
senses? It
will
is
take
very
little
simple.
more time than
We should
this,
not
that's
eat
okay.
food. Let us eat
This is a
prasad.
thought process. How
And we
can
should
doubt
not
it,
think
how we
our,
can doubt it. One day we will come there.
The one who serves, my wife, but
Fully
he is a
directly
devotee.
into that thing.
My children, yes, they are my children, but they are the devotee, right? And the fasting on Ekadasi, let me, control my senses. Let me purify. Oh God, please allow me. Please, accept me, to stay near to you on this Ekadasi day. So
Very
that
happy,
prayer
we have like 2, 3,
and
4,
following
5
the
of them are
scripture,
all
Prabhupada given, straightforward
so much flavor in
scripture,
all this. How I would have
straightforward
said
purport
this
in
class, how he is
there are
saying,
so
how
many
Rishikesh
scriptures
was
are there,
saying.
right?
Will all
These
be
are the
different
ways,
flavors.
and one
So
can,
actually it's
render
very
service
nice.
to
Only if you
Guru
have
and
more
Krishna.
devotees coming
So
in,
there are
it's
so many methods
benefiting
are there
very
to
nicely.
control the
Whatever,
senses.
everyone.
So through that way, one can attain the perfection, and they will be progressing without delay. They will be peaceful without delay. So that is what Shraddhavan, a faithful man, and Labhate, that means achieves, and Labdhava, having achieved, Adhigachati, attains. Adhigachati
Quickly.
means
Attains quickly.
attains. What he attains? The one attains perfection, easily attain the perfection in knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So otherwise it is very difficult. So how fast one should, take this Krishna consciousness? In one of the lecture I heard, right, 5,000 kilometers per second. Such a speed Hanuman took Krishna consciousness from Surya Dev, right? From where he got this knowledge from the parampara of our this Yeva. What is it?
Vivaswan.
From to whom he preached. Krishna preached. So that parampara. So Hanuman took in that fast. So because that much surrender he has got, so he has got he's a wonderful. He has become wonderful devotee. So we can find all over Karnataka there are so many big temples for Hanuman. All over India, if we take, probably so many temples for Hanuman, right? So with my small attempt, I could convey whatever Prabhupada conveyed in the purport and translation, and with the mercy of Guru and Krishna, I have attempted this. And I'm most fallen, and there are so much of rajasic way of giving the content. There is anything, please forgive me for that. Hare Krishna. If there is any questions, we can discuss. If possible, I will try to attempt. Otherwise, Vidura Prabhu and other devotees can help me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhu, actually, like one of the when you were discussing about the Bangalore thing, right? One of the point you told, like the suicide city.
Okay.
Okay. So actually, there is something I just want to be discussed. Just 1 second.
Yes. A little closer to mic, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu.
Right.
Just asking for this power cut. Should be inside here.
Yes, Arya Prabhu's point is about ignorance, relevant to our verse today. So that is the reason one commits suicide. Purely it is because of ignorance. So Prabhu would like to share something. That was the point from Arya Prabhu. Correct.
Prabhu, like from India, like Neeraj Chopra, right? Neeraj Chopra, who win the gold medal for the Olympics, Prabhu.
Okay.
So, like one of the in group discussion, there we discuss with my friend. So some of the people actually appreciate about the Neeraj Chopra's gold medal thing. Okay. And same time, same people only, they're discussing about see how much he got the money. Like all the state governments are giving the money to him, right? Like some government is given 6 crore and some government is given 2 crore, and kind of like Anand Mahindra, he in Twitter he just whatever the car, he just tagging him and he's telling like kind of brand ambassador they're doing. So many things he got the gift. Now, like in this case, okay, so specifically what I think these people are morally confused. They are looking about the money, or they're looking about the gold medal. So this is one point. Okay, I think this week can be seriously, the thing is I'm not able to understand the people's mindset here. What exactly they're looking for. Okay, and probably this one also. And regarding to the suicide list, the suicide case in Bangalore. So this is something like all over the world, who are the billionaires and millionaires. I have given the links over the chat. Like after seeing this, I'm just thinking, what is the purpose of life? Okay, so these are like they are like billionaires. Still, they are doing the commit suicide. So I think these two questions for you, Prabhu, because here also.
Now, what is the second one? Could you come again, Prabhu?
Yeah, second one, I have given a link in the chat box. You can see that, Prabhu. So it's
Okay.
like some of the billionaire peoples who did the commit suicide.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, they have everything, but still they did the suicide. Then
Okay.
purpose of life, right?
Okay. Yeah,
Like
your expression and your concern is really good. So I would like to start from your second point. So the second point, what you are trying to make out, though the person is billionaire, he is also committing suicide. The same question had come for the discussion with Prabhupada, not in this way. No, this Krishna consciousness only for learned and only for rich people. No, it is not. Why it is not for poor people like that? Prabhupada replied, see, the suffering is same. Whether the person may be poor or the person may be rich, the suffering is same, right? The poor person having the suffering in the poorest atmosphere. The rich person is having, I mean to say, material, poor and rich. And the richest person is suffering in the richest place, richest environment, maybe in a very nice, opulent place, and all this. Still, the suffering is a suffering, right? So that is the reason the Krishna consciousness focuses on suffering, not on rich or poor, not a man or woman, not Indian, American, or this particular caste or that particular caste, correct? So in that perception will come only one comes to understand or at least to associate something relevant to this transcendental knowledge. Then only it will culminate towards the fruit of all mysticism and all these things we have discussed, right? So one should be mindful about this transcendental knowledge, not focusing for the ignorance is same, either rich or poor. The ignorance is ignorance. Comparing to your point that suicidal rate, maybe rich or poor, because of ignorance only, because of attachment only, they are fallen into that trap of suffering. No other undoubtedly we can say. And your first point is all about punarapi maranam. What is that? Punarapi jananam. So that means, see, whatever it may be, the wealth this player achieves, I did, some scientist, Prabhupada always, refutes all scientist, activities. So he says, scientists may bring out, so many innovation, that this and all, but one should be mindful before getting into all this scientific discussion. I am not this body, I am the spirit soul. Because the one who was born, again he will, take a birth. Based on what? Based on his, karma. So he should get ready for, this akarma. Not with again and again, this fruitive activities and this. So how this akarma will come to a person, one should be mindful about the transcendental knowledge. So our today's discussion started with the glimpse of third chapter. So this third chapter glorifies more about akarma, right? If I should qualify in akarma, I should know what is transcendental knowledge. I should know what is good and bad. What is me and what is the soul and what is supreme soul and what is the relationship between among us, among all this. Then only one can attain to that stage, I think. Otherwise, all these are temporary. So as you mentioned, some group of people will say so many things. Oh, you have done wonderful job. This still it is a material, no, right? And it is nothing wrong in rewarding, or it is nothing wrong from people comparison, right? People always compare. This is correct and that is correct and this is correct and this is correct. So, and in what mood and what purpose, both the one who is serving and getting the service should be mindful about God consciousness, and this thoughtful is very much important for whomever you mentioned, that Mahendra and what is it, Neeraj Chopra, the person who brought the first gold medal to India, whomever it may be. So it is not subject to any individual. It is a common fact. The one who was born, they should die. in what perception and towards what progress one is, getting into his life, his or her life. Like, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thanks for sharing those what I can say points.
Yes, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, I just want to share one more thing. Can I share it, Prabhu?
Yeah. You are welcome for.
Okay, I'm just sharing my screen.
Yeah, where you went to various.
This is actually one of the greatest scientists over here. This is Richard Dawkins, and he's discussing about the meaning of life. So this is only like a 2 minutes ago. I think it is very helpful.
Maybe the most important question: what is the meaning of life? What gives your life fulfillment, purpose, happiness, meaning?
From a scientific point of view, the meaning of life is the propagation of DNA, but that's not what I feel. That's not the meaning of my life. So the meaning of my life is something which is probably different from yours and different from other people's, but we each make our own meaning. So we set up goals we want to achieve. We want to write a book. We want to do whatever it is we do, write a quartet. We want to win a football match. These are short-term goals, well, maybe even quite long-term goals, which are set up by our brains, which have goal-seeking machinery built into them. But what we don't feel motivated by the desire to pass on our DNA, mostly. We have other goals, which can be very moving, very important. They could even be called spiritual in some cases. We want to understand the riddle of the universe. We want to understand consciousness. We want to understand how the brain works. These are all noble.
So, Prabhu, here the word he used, consciousness, okay? But if you see like the confusion of this scientist.
Okay.
Noble goals anyway. And they are...
You can share the essence, Prabhu. You can tell what, this particular, the conversation is. You can share with the audience,
Yes,
maybe, benefited for all. You can share the essence of this video, just in short.
Yes, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, the thing is, what I'm trying to say, even the scientists are, in normal, like animalistic life, what we feel like they are the topmost person who have very much clear about the things because they research and they know everything. But if you see their interviews, they are still confused what to do. they are telling what is the purpose of life. It's a combination of DNA. they are telling, and same time that they are telling like when you are playing a football, our goal is to like do a goal. So that is also kind of they are telling it's our purpose of life. So it's very much confusing. Okay, the point what are this is the one of the points. Second thing, something like this is something my uncle's point. My uncle's son is right now he's in USA and he's earning good money, but still my uncle is not happy because he's away. My uncle's son is away from him, and he means personally my uncle wants his son should be with him. But same time when I ask him, okay, he'll come, but he have to quit his job. He is not ready for that as well. No, he should not be quit his job. Okay, he needs the money and he needs the son is same time at his home. So this kind of confusion means what I'm trying to say. Every people's having everything, but still they have a confusion what to do. When actually today whatever point you told, it's much clear like the people what needs to be done in term there is no other way. We have to only one way. We should be like following the consciousness, Krishna consciousness. This is the point, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Nice, understanding. Hare Krishna.
Nidra Prabhuji, you want to add something? I think you are about to say something.
No. I was actually, contemplating on your examples that you had bought. Like, for example, we talk about this person who has got crores of rupees, he is not happy, we are saying. So, in our mind, that crores of rupees is what we think is the best. And when we see someone who has achieved that is not having that, we get that doubt, oh, maybe that is not what it is. In this other example, what you give, like he has everything, but then for him, that definition of happiness is only being with his son, right? I mean, so it varies from person to person, but by and large, all of us think money is the only criteria, right? If I have good money, all of us are chasing money so much, right? I mean, in different, we also chase something else that's always there, but the highest priority is about money. But it necessarily need not be money. It could be like this example that you mentioned, that he's not happy because he's longing for his son to be with him. And like this, there could be for someone else, it could be a relationship, like, they have everything, but then they know they are not able to have a good relationship with their spouse. That becomes a major problem. Or some sense of achievement, right? I wanted to become the MD of this company, I have not. So for him, there are some people after some stage, they stop working for money. They work for their recognition. If you see most of higher category employees, I don't know, that's also difficult these days. Everybody want more money, more position also. But at some stage, if you see, they feel, yaar, money to hai, but I want to, achieve this. I want to be recognized by, like, in whatever, in that particular forum in which so this is a never-ending process. The problem is what Prabhu rightly brought. The culmination is important. If you don't culminate, see, if you are on the track can go to Calcutta, the track can also be diverted to Delhi or wherever. But if you are clear what is the culminating point, then there is after that there is no deliberation, right? Clearly this is the end game. But the problem with so many other things is we are searching for that in different ways, not knowing where we need to go. But if you are clear, I am going to Delhi, then it doesn't matter. All the other, there are other varieties, there are other, you may want to do it in a car, you may want to do it in a whatever, a nice AC coach, or you are okay with a normal second class coach or whatever it is. But your contentment is in the point that I am going to Delhi. If you really see that point, all of us travel, right? But it's not about when you are boarding a train, mostly it's not about the AC chair car that is the main thing. The main thing is about reaching that point called Delhi. Is it not? You may choose different comfort level according to your ability to spend, right? But your objective is not to simply sit in that AC chair car. Then if I give you, okay, you be in that AC chair car for a month, will you remain? I mean, if you say, no, AC chair car is my objective, I'll give you an AC chair car for a month, will you sit in that for a month? No. You want to reach Delhi, but you look, okay, no, I actually want to do it in comfort, so I will take an AC chair car. So the objective is very important. That's why in this verse it's very beautifully said, whatever you do, but if that end does not reach you to that Krishna consciousness, or rather the Prabhu said that that's the father. If you are not able to reach that father, then it doesn't actually somewhere connect. You are still hankering, you are still in the you are still in that lost mode. Just like we say this example, right? If you are so one child is lost in let's say in a mela or in a big some festival somewhere is happening, there are millions of, our Jagannath Rath Yatra is happening, so many lakhs of people are there. Assuming a child is lost in that big crowd, now you take that child and then you go and say, oh child, here I will give you a wonderful biggest ice cream possible, or the best sweetest ice cream, or you give the best toy to that child. the child's, depending on the child's interest, it may, like, some children are after toys, some children are after chocolates, some children are after whatever, teddy bear, whatever. You give the best of that, it may hold, or it may suddenly see, oh, nice, but the next minute it says, oh, no, where is my father, right? So, and the end state for the child is when you show that father, right? In that millions of people who are there, finally, if you are able to bring the child in front of the father, the child becomes so happy, the teddy bear and all is forgotten. No, so that is the point which we all jivas are struggling about, and that's the point today we are discussing. The ultimate knowledge. Yes, we are all chasing so many different things, but we do not know what should be chased actually. What we should chase is the father that Achyuta Prabhu was making very clear so many times, that you have to chase that ultimate destination, or in that example of train, the Delhi. Okay, how I get to Delhi is different, but ultimately Delhi is the point that matters. Everything else is actually only some details. So that's very important. But unfortunately, we are always lost in so many other things. We understand theoretically, but practically, when we get down tomorrow into our normal life, we start cursing someone. This I was saying, all these things keep coming in, but we don't get the larger picture. Why am I here? What is the purpose of my life? How can I move towards that 1 inch of finding my father? Why do I have to struggle here? He talked about Punarapi Manaram, Punarapi Jananam, Achyuta Prabhu. We need to think about that. Why am I again and again stuck here? Will that teddy bear give me happiness? Why has it not given that to the other child who has the teddy bear? That's what he was talking about. Someone has millions of dollars, but why is he not happy? We need to learn from others' experiences. So, okay, sometimes that $1 million may be a need, no doubt. But then, is it the end game? That question we don't do, and we keep chasing that 1 million or that teddy bear or that whatever, or that AC coach or whatever, but in the process lose the final destination. That's important. But here it's very clearly said, one who has that knowledge of that I should reach the final destination, he is in Shanti. That word, the second verse he talked about, he is actually peace. Sundar Prabhu or Achyuta Prabhu used that word Aram Se. He is Aram Se, because see, so many times we say, right, a man who knows his limitations, then he is actually progressing. Like that, if you know where you are going, you don't really worry about the other aspects. Yeah, some adjustments I need to do. Yeah, this unreserved compartment I have what to do, but I am still okay because I am reaching Delhi. That's a big game changer in your mind, in your consciousness. So that's the point. So wherever people try, whatever they do, the objective is that, and once you have that clarity, you are in peace. Like, take other examples. Like, you simple, today you want to buy a phone. There are thousands of models of phone, right? But you can keep on going, breaking your head with all the YouTube videos, everything. But if you are able to simply understand what is your specific need, then the choice becomes very simple, right? What is your budget? What is the need with you want in the phone? Then the iPhone 25 does not matter to you. It's there, fine, I don't care. Because I don't have a budget, I'm not looking at it. So we make the thing whole simple. Otherwise, you can keep is this better? Baba, what are you actually looking for? The same thing, if you have clarity about the destination, then everything else becomes blurred. Everything goes into the background, and then you are actually Aram Se. But we don't know what is the end. So we are looking, everything is the end. Like, money is the end. Relationship is the end. My position is the end. We keep on adding so many things, and then we keep running here and there. Sometimes we get some of it, great. But the next minute, our goalpost shifts. We are getting into another messy situation. Therefore, this verse clearly says, Krishna says at the, what is that? He says, right, Vedaisya sarver aham eva vedyaha. That means the end of all the search for spiritual, whatever you call that, is ultimately ends in me. Vedaisya sarver aham eva vedyaha. Only I am to be known. That is the end of the journey. So that's there. And he also says, what is the last word of Bhagavad Gita? Everybody knows. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam charanam braja. Aham tvam sarva pepabhyo mokshayishami ma suchaha. So that is the point that we need to come at. And that's what this verse is explaining. And that, nicely explained by Achyuta Prabhu in practical terms. So, my few cents. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, it is very clear, but let's see, like, how can I be implement all these things in my life?
He also talked about how do you implement that, right? The second
Yes.
verse he talked about it, right? He talked about, see, some things are there in, yeah, I get it. I get it. Now, how do I get there? See, I have understood, but then there has to be an effort to get there. And he talked about certain things which Prabhupada has also written, like, and that process will automatically take us if we are in that boat. Like, if I am going to, again, Delhi, if I boarded that train, I'm sure to go to Delhi. But if I gone and sat in a train which goes to Mumbai, even if it is the best AC chair car, it's of no use. But if I boarded the right train, I'm going to get there. That's very important. So, in that sense, we are all in Prabhupada's boat, Prabhupada's train, if I have to take today's example. And we have a nice captain, we have a nice guard, everything is there. We are completely covered from top to bottom, side to both sides. Simply enjoy the trip with Srila Prabhupada, with Gurudev, and the association of all you wonderful devotees. Okay, there will always be sometimes, some chemical factory will come, some smell will also come. Just close your nose and get over that area. Like that in life, we may go get some problems also. There may be some, one, what do you call this ditch will be, what do you call, kuvam?
Drainage.
Tunnel.
Huh? No, this water flowing, which is actually drainage water, which is flowing, right? Sometimes the train may go over it, so sometimes bad smell will be there. Just tolerate for a few minutes, then you are over it. So like that process is very clearly given, and we are there. That's why I say never get out of the train. Be in the train, come what may. So then we are actually going to reach there for sure. So hold on to each other and be there. And then slowly we will get so many things, so many things will come. And Krishna is saying, right, Prabhu said many times and also made us chant many times, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra will clear all the material, dirt from our heart. That the wrong understanding of who you are will be cleared, and therefore we will clearly know who you are, what is the end game, and how how we are getting there. We are already trying, but the more impetus to get there will automatically come. So that's the thought process, and all of us are in that journey right now. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Nice, Prabhu.
Any other thoughts, any other questions? Otherwise, we can close. Okay. Silence means everybody is satisfied. Okay. Thank you, Achyuta Prabhu. Wonderful class. Wonderful examples. So, thank you very much. Looking forward to more sharing of your knowledge. I was telling Nagesh Prabhu here. So, here is a professor talking. When you initially gave a complete synopsis of how the fourth chapter, how the flow, and then one of which sections it is all covered. So very nice. So you get such nice perspectives when you speak. So we are happy to listen and learn from you. Thank you very much.
And also, Prabhu, it's out of our syllabus.
Yeah, out of syllabus, within scope. Very nice.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
class is over.
Yeah.
So the typical professor
Yeah.
to students similar way. He has given a simple, even common man's students how he can understand.
Yes.
So that level